Hello, everybody. This is Angel Arts, and welcome once again. We are back to the main squad. This is their session 11, and yeah, things are really heating up a bit in more ways than one. So I wanted to dive right in and try to see what exactly is going to be happening next. Because to be quite honest, I, as the DM, am curious about what's about to happen next. Because
We're flying off. No, we're not.
we're flying off the handle. Here is your. This might be a little bit more of a challenging warm-up question for you. So if you need some time to think about it, I am willing to stall by answering this question as well, using any NPC of your choice. Okay? If you need me to stall, I want you to come up with some extremely defining childhood memory. Something from your character's childhood, at least the childhood that you remember, that is very vivid in your mind, even to this day, and why. It could be something happy, it could be something sad, it could be something tragic, it could be something completely random, but, it was just something that, was a vivid memory in your mind, anything from your character's childhood. And if you want me to stall, I will let you pick an NPC for me to answer that question with.
I'm already set. This is not tough for me.
Okay.
It's going to be tough for our car, though, because her memories are fake.
Well, does anyone want to do an NPC? If that's the case, you can go first, and then you guys can think about what NPC you want me to do, because I would like to answer that question with one of the NPCs.
Dreamy!
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, does anyone else want someone else? Because otherwise I'm voting Dreamy.
I'm actually curious about Otto, personally, because he grew up with
Otto.
Otto's a good one, too.
But then again, we did him last time.
That is true. We did do Otto last time. And you probably have the luxury of asking Otto more about his childhood than you do of asking Jimmy about his childhood.
Oh,
So,
yeah, true.
Good point.
Who haven't we done one of?
We only did
Already.
Otto before.
Already and Cyrus, really. We haven't done anything about them. And I'm trying to think of others. Chris.
Well, Jeff.
There was also...
Chris.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of choices.
Corbin. There's lots and lots of choices.
Let's start with Jeff,
Pie.
since he was so ready to
Hey,
answer
we could
the
do
question.
pie.
Uh-huh. Yes, we could do pie.
That would be interesting.
I remember the day I was just built.
Program, please.
Anyway, go
Alright,
ahead,
guys.
Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
I guess my most memorable thing from my childhood, well, Anar's childhood, would have to be the day he was exiled from Kaje, because he was actually still very young in his teenager days. Does that count, or do you want me to go younger?
No, that's fine by me. That's fine. If that's the most... that you can
It
consider
is,
that.
because that's when his life completely changed. That's when his old persona died and his new one began. And I might not even get a chance to tell it in the game, so this is a good time to do it. Well, first off, Anar grew up with Galaxy of Fantasy. He's learned all his bad habits and language from every person he's interacted with. And over the years, he's gotten very fed up with how his own society works and how the Hanar work. And feel that they were in the back pantry of the universe. He wanted them to get more into it, more self-development. He wanted them to be a little bit less Hanar-like. So he performed a demonstration, and unfortunately he got too rowdy, and long story short, he was disowned by his family, stripped of his name. He was stripped of everything and slapped on a ship. And all they did, they wiped all of his records from things, so he's not even a Hanar anymore. He was branded an anarchist, slapped on the ship. In fact, that's how he got his name. The ship captain didn't want to call him anarchist, and he wouldn't give up another name, so they called him Anar for short. And that's when he had to go and live on the Citadel, when he was basically adopted by Chris and his father, and began his brand new life. That's when the original person, the original Hanar, died, and the brand new Anar was born. When that was basically when his entire life changed. Became an outcast.
I think for Sync, his most fondest childhood memory was growing up. He loved superheroes, and whenever he couldn't really in life outside of, I guess, the cartoons or whatever he would watch, he didn't see a hero in anyone else. So when he was young, he had the dream of being his own hero, and that's just kind of something that stuck with him since he was a kid.
With my character, I think it's not a fond memory, but it's like a memory from her childhood when she was in her teens as a biotic growing up in a trained world, just having to deal with being hit with that label. I remember for her one day, she actually kind of just ran away, just tried to get away from it. Went to just kind of this secluded mountain area and just kind of vented all that biotic things, causing a cave-in to happen. She was trapped for like a span of like 24 hours. The only person that actually went and found her was her own mother, the person who'd been training her in her biotics. And she kind of had like from there kind of realized like she needs to be able to kind of become strong, be able to, because her mom's not going to be there for her forever. She has to be able to defend herself, and she's also kind of, because of that, she doesn't do well in very close, tight, confined spaces.
Every memory that Arkara has is basically, she now knows at least, are fragments of her original self. But she has glimpses and of memories that are really etched inside her brain that are so integral to her, and that is just small glimpses of holding this little baby with emerald green eyes and humming to it.
Oh.
And that's just so etched into her, and those eyes especially, and which is why her favorite color is green. She can't get those eyes out of her head. So that's just in her mind at all times, basically.
So Drimmy, this probably goes in Drimmy's early teen years. I would say at the time, she at the time was probably around 15 years old of age. She went to school to Thessia, but it was probably one of those schools. That was of course predominantly Asari, but there were a few other races mixed in as well. So it was a little bit more of a diverse institute that Drimmy studied at, and there was a Quarian. There was a Canary there. Dun, dun, dun. There was a Quarian there that she actually became very close with. She became very good friends. The only problem is this is a male Quarian, and historically, Drimmy has always been predominantly only attracted to females. And it was a little awkward because they had a lot in common. They were very close, but this male Quarian would keep flirting with her, but she wouldn't really reciprocate, and it was just kind of really awkward. And I think that Drimmy felt really bad because they never really resolved that, and I think that they lost touch because the Quarian just gave up. Like, the Quarian didn't know what was wrong with him, and I guess at the time, Drimmy just never had the nerve to, tell him, you're a good friend, but I just don't see you in that way. What really complicated things even more, and this is something that Drimmy may have mentioned to Sync at some point, because I'm sure they've had a conversation about his past, is that secretly, Drimmy was actually kind of had a really awkward crush on that Quarian's mother. The Quarian's mother. So they would hang out at the Quarian's house all the time, and the Quarian's mom would come around and like serve them snacks and stuff, and Drimmy would just like watch as she goes off, and it was just one of those like Stacy's mom. It's like, if you know the song, it's one of those Stacy's mom like situations where
I was just thinking about that song.
The son was very much into Drimmy, but Drimmy was more into the mom, and But again, nothing happened. Jimmy never acted on it. It was just one of those things that he was very embarrassed about because it was just so ironic and weird. And anyway, that's something from Jimmy's childhood that that I thought was fun. Okay. Are you ready,
well,
Elias?
Yeah, well, as a young, Elias's most traumatic childhood memory is actually getting his horns removed as a young canary. No.
Yes. Besides that,
his is actually fairly recent because he is actually quite young, but it's from the Reaper War, and it's not actually one of his memories. What he has is helmet cam footage, and it's from an attack, a Reaper attack on a Turian comm relay on the ground, which was one of the relays crucial for the war effort that had been taken by Reapers and damaged, and there was a call for emergency engineering ships or an emergency ground crew to actually fix the relay and hold it. And his father was one of the Marines who went and, well, answered that particular call. So what he's got is helmet cam vision from the actual drop coming out of the live ships. Well, I suppose it's from one of the heavy fleet ships, actually, rather than an actual live ship, because those really don't go into combat. So there's a lot of fighting, a lot of shooting, quite a lot of people dying, and pretty much the entire squad, while a lot of them survived the actual initial assault, as you know in game lore, depending on the choices you made in Mass Effect 3, you may have seen the actual news article, their envirosuits were shot up to the point where, well, they wouldn't survive evac, so they didn't get evac. So the last thing he actually has of his dad is helmet cam footage of him dying on Minet.
Yikes. I am now sad and disturbed.
I tried to lighten up the mood a little bit.
Sorry, it's not all fun and
Now
games.
you have to go all sad again. Just had to get all sad. Okay, so...
Well, we could go with the horn story if you'd rather.
That's true. So let's go ahead back to the Endurance, shall we? And take it from the last scene that we had, which is between Tricey and Sync. And then Cyrus is back in the med bay, and then Otto's probably back in the mess area. And then Sepia's in the mess area?
Sure. I was hoping to have my confrontation with Tricey in the mess bay.
Yeah, and Anar is off.
Because you've been loitering in the hallway, just waiting.
Yeah, because Anar's... Your thing happens after this, correct?
Yeah, so I'd probably be in the cargo in the meantime, getting ready.
Okay. Tricey gets caught by Sync, and I think to both of their surprise, I don't think either of them had planned that to happen at all, they shared a very lingering, passionate kiss. That, the way I described it, it felt different to Sync, but right at the same time, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Different, but still right. After a few moments, Tricey sort of lightly pushes against your chest, not like, oh my gosh, get off me, more like a okay, wow, kind of a thing. And she's beet red, and she looks very embarrassed, and she's sort of like rubbing the back of her head a little bit through the curls of her red hair, and she looks speechless. She looks speechless. I don't think she's going to say anything, at least for the first few seconds, unless Sync says anything. you both can be very speechless too if
Yeah.
you'd like, but
Yeah, I think he's gonna kind of say what you said. It felt different, but right at the same time.
she says, I don't know about the different part, but she nods and looks at you straight in the eye. Right is about right, she says.
I'm sorry if I came off too.
No, I'm sorry too, she says. Like you said, we technically just met only a few days ago, and I guess you have to take me back to my brother at some point too.
Yeah.
She looks a little like she sounds. Normally, you would think that somebody would say that she'd be happy to reunite back with her brother, but you can definitely sense a feeling of disappointment when she says that.
I'll say, yeah, perhaps messing with the universe too much is probably not a good thing. Maybe we can figure this out in the morning. Perhaps we can figure this out sometime tomorrow. It's been a long day.
Yeah, sounds about right. I guess see you tomorrow at breakfast?
See you tomorrow at breakfast.
Oh, and she's about to leave, and then she turns around. If you don't mind me asking, I was just curious. Is Sync your real name?
Real name? No. It's just something I've been called. He's at a loss for words as to everything that happens. My real name's Alabon. Sync is just something that just kind of came up out of nowhere, I guess.
Al, she says. I like that name.
Thanks.
She gives you a smile, and then she says goodnight, and she leaves, and she leaves, and the door shuts behind her. And when the door shuts behind her, if anybody's watching in the hallway, I don't know if Sync-cepia happens to be right there.
Noticing a little swing.
Sync-cepia is right there as she's passing by, and you see Tricey. The short door shuts down behind her. She's beat red, and then she kind of backs up against the side of the door, and she kind of goes, like gives a big sigh before she. Do you stay there in the hallway, or are you gonna walk by?
Tricey, can I meet you in the mess hall for a minute?
Oh dear.
She says, huh? She doesn't. It's like she didn't hear you for a moment, but then she sees you as you come into focus within her eyesight, and she says, "Oh, yes, sure, of course." And she's like, fixing up her dress, like trying to make herself look like nothing happened at all. Alright, so you guys went to the mess area.
You mad.
Could you give us a moment?
Otto says, very well, I will go ahead and visit Anar, and he will leave and go down to the cargo bay.
I stare down Tricey for a moment.
Tricey doesn't seem to notice. I think she's sort of like half not there. And she goes over, when you're in the mess hall, she goes over to the kitchen cabinets and then pulls out a glass to pour herself a glass of water. And, while she has her back to you, she asks you, do you want something, Sync-cepia? As in to drink. Do you want something from the kitchen, Sync-cepia? I can get it for you.
No, I'm good. I can tell you seem to have gotten a liking to Sync, just based off your interactions back on the previous world.
She turns around with the glass. She finishes taking a sip. Again, completely oblivious to whatever looks you're giving her, and she says, Yeah, she says he's really, really sweet. Again, not looking at you in particular. She's just going, he's really sweet. She's in cloud 9 at the moment.
I think
How long have you known him? She asks.
I think you need to watch what you're doing with him. Being with him isn't like being with any other person, especially given your history or his history.
Oh, she says, you mean the fact that we're from different universes? She sort of like frowns a little bit.
I think it's more than that. I don't know what this could be with you between him, but there is an amount of baggage that Sync is going through. A lot of that, both his body and mind, that he's carrying as a result of what he's done in the past, and a lot of it with his wife. With you being around, I will say this: if you in any way compromise our mission, I will not hesitate to leave you in the green world for universe for your team to try to find you. If you become a detriment to this mission, I will not hesitate.
She looks she sort of looks taken aback by this for the first time. She notices your demeanor, and in the tone of your voice, she realizes how serious you're being. And she takes the glass, and then she kind of, not like bangs it onto the counter, but she definitely doesn't put it down gently. She puts it, she puts it down onto the counter and turns to you and says, "Excuse me?"
You've only just met him. I don't know where it comes from, where you can go by so quickly, but you don't need to be you do not need to be leading his emotions like this, especially if he's not in the right mind.
She said, no, hold on. She says, you got to speak. She says, first of all, I have absolutely no intention of messing up with your mission whatsoever. Let's make that quite clear. Second of all, she says, he came after me. And yes, I admit I didn't pull back, but what was I supposed to do?
Sure, some restraint might be an option. You realize why he's doing this. Your resemblance to his late wife. It's consumed him. Just be careful what you're doing, because whatever ever outcome comes between this, it's not going to be good. If you do end up going back, it's just going to feel like leading him on. If something becomes of this, you have to know what kind of person you're dealing with. You haven't seen his other side, the more mechanical side. The side of him that has no hesitations of pulling a trigger on anyone. This isn't something you should take lightly.
I'm not saying that I don't agree with you, but why the tone? She asks. What did I ever do to you to deserve this third degree from you? You could have just asked me in a much more, I don't know, polite way.
Comes to the territory. I usually have to be a lot more forceful with my job.
I understand, but you're not at your job right now, are you?
I'm just concerned. I've seen that side. I've been with him. It may not be a short time, but I understand the baggage with him. I've even practically been at his deathbed. Pulls out the hood that she still carries. It's been washed, but it still has that stain of blood that was on it. I use this to make sure on our mission onto Chunga to try to keep the blood in his body. and I don't want to see him get hurt. And I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that doesn't happen.
I don't want to see him get hurt either. Like I said, I don't disagree with you. And I think that it's wonderful that you're protecting him. Really, I do. But you can't just come in here and just treat me like I'm your 16-year-old daughter.
No, in this it seems more like you're the other woman taking advantage of his history that he actually has with his wife, his late wife. His feelings for you has roots to his wife. And he's going to feel far more stronger attachments to you. And if something were to happen to you and while under our care, can you imagine the guilt he would feel if something did happen to you, of losing his wife a second time, losing Beatrice a second time? No outcome from this could be any good.
She thinks about it for a moment, and then she sighs.
You have to be careful not to give any indication that you're leading him on, or else he will go for that.
I can only promise you that I'm not going to do anything to lead him on. But I can't promise you anything if anything naturally happens. It's how this thing works.
And with that, she steps out.
Ouch. Cold shoulder.
That was awesome. That was really awesome.
That was very well done.
Sing's got 2 women fighting for him. Awesome. Elias the superstar, and he doesn't even have that.
Sync-cepia ship firing the cannon.
Well, Elias has been trying very hard to avoid that. There was already drumming and really going at it.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yes. Otto comes down to the cargo bay, and Otto will approach you, Anar, while you're getting your things ready, and Otto asks, "Mr. Anar, sir, I have a question for you, if I may, inquisitively."
Otto, you don't have to address me as Mr. It's Anar. Just Anar. We're friends here, okay?
Informally, Anar. EO, pal, buddy.
Dude, we need to work on that speech.
For sure.
Anar's gonna slap his face. That'll do. Okay, what's up?
I wish to do some baking this evening, and I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite flavor of pie?
That's like the hardest question anyone can ask me. If Otto isn't taken back, he actually is talking about himself in the first person, which is very strange. Otto, that is a very difficult question because pie is delicious.
Which is why I am asking you what your favorite flavor is.
Anar is going to jump into the mech and start going through some of his trash. He's going to make a lot of noise, and he's going to pull something out and say, "Aha!" And he's going to roll it on the ground, and it's going to stop by Otto's feet, and there is a picture of cherry pie on it. And if he looks at it, there's a lot of different pictures of pies on it. This is called the pie die.
The pie die, okay.
Anar's going to look at it and be like, "Bingo, cherry. Today's favorite is cherry."
Good choice, he says. May I also ask how often that die actually gets put to use?
Did he literally just speak without saying what kind of tone he's using?
Yeah, he did.
Holy crap.
He's done that a few times, actually.
Anar
He's
is
done that a
stunned
few
for a
times.
moment. See, you're already doing it, buddy. You are... Not to disrespect your Elcor upbringing, but that is amazing. Right, pie. Actually, not since... And if Chris is down here, he's going to look at him slowly. Not since me and Chris had to keep asking his dad to make them.
He did his best, but they turned into more like giant cookies instead of pies. Not very tasty.
Hey, when you have low standards, what can you say? I'm going to say that while juggling the dice. I'm in a good mood.
I'm sorry, Otto will start to leave, and then he says, I'm assuming you are going to visit your girlfriend soon, especially considering the other one upstairs is around.
I'm going to approach Otto slowly. Otto, we've known each other a short time, and you have been awesome. Like, a really good friend. And he's going to, like, pat him on the shoulder, be like, but that Tricey upstairs has nothing to do with it. All she did was give me a little push. But yes, I am going to visit her, but first I have to need to get this guy home, because he hasn't seen it in 5 years.
After you say that, Otto kind of does a very awkward grab around you like a hug. And then he gives you a squeeze.
Guy,
And he says,
I have no solid bones. You need to...
Good luck, buddy. And then he pats you with his, with his
Love
hand.
you too, man. Can I breathe, please?
Oh, of course. Apologetically, and he lets go.
No.
And at that,
problem.
Otto will go upstairs.
Good talk, buddy.
Chris will watch as Otto leaves, and he asks, "That's the weirdest Krogan I've ever met. What's wrong with him?"
There is nothing wrong with him, Chris. He's just... he grew up on the Kuna with the Elcor. He was an orphan.
Oh, that makes sense. Wow. I never thought that... Wait a minute. He says, how is... I'm not going to ask any questions. Better not to ask any questions.
Chris, I do need to ask you something.
Sure, anything for you, Anar.
You do know that our mission isn't quite over yet, right?
Right, we still have to find Octavius.
Yes, but I need you to know something before we go, okay?
Okay.
You don't have to come with us if you don't want to.
Oh, I know that.
I've been through 5 years of hell. I know this. But there is nothing wrong if you want to stay home and rebuild your life, my friend. I don't want you in any more danger if I can help it.
But Anar, I am home. With you.
Oh, you're the best brother I've ever had. Give him a hug.
Aww.
A little nookie as usual.
He gives you a hug back. Not quite as powerful as the other one. But...
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, I'll make sure you don't get... actually, I don't... You know what? Staying off the battlefield may be best. Especially after last time. But anyways, have you figured out what we can do about the mech? It's got a shielding issue. And from that point, they'll start talking shop if Chris doesn't have anything else to say.
Is anything going on with Elias, just out of curiosity? Is he doing anything tonight before going to bed?
I'm probably going to be working on hacking modules and basically all of my giant list of tech things to do that I've been given. That's probably about it for now, unless Sync-cepia is storming through in a huff, in which case everyone's going to be going, what the hell is up with her?
Yeah,
wait, does Elias still give the chip from last time?
What chip?
Didn't you give him a chip with his wife on it?
I
Just
put
funny,
that
did
down.
Yeah.
No, I think I've still got the chip, but Sync and I agreed that we'd do that tomorrow.
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, I've still got that chip.
Is Sync-cepia in the common area?
Yeah, kind of like in kind of
Steaming.
like kind of like stop and kind of like look at everyone, see.
All right.
What's up,
So I guess I'm not sure if Sync-cepia what's her general demeanor? Is she trying to hide?
I imagine she will try to hide, so I think I'll have to roll for that, huh?
Yeah, probably like a con or something.
A con. So that'll probably just be straight up perception then.
All right. So neither of you.
Cara knows nothing.
Yeah.
Is Pi still actively monitoring everyone's vital signs?
I'm sure he is.
Because in that case, Pi might notice.
I think Pi notices. I don't know if Pi would necessarily say anything.
I don't know if he would either, but he'd probably notice.
He probably would mention something. He'll probably say,
Creator Elias, there is an elevated heart rate.
Yes, pretty
he would
much.
just say something like that.
Creator Elias, it seems like something is wrong with Sync-cepia. Her heart rate has increased approximately 28% faster than normal. I'm getting a nod from Dylan, so hopefully that's accurate. Yes, thank you, Dylan.
I'm going to quickly track her back through the security cameras on the ship.
Did you put security cameras in the kitchen, in the mess area?
Well,
sure
there's
you did,
cameras.
everywhere.
There's cameras
Except for the bathroom.
in all the common areas. They're not in the
Alright.
bedrooms. It's for the reality show. We need footage.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, and I'm
It's
sure the
everywhere.
audience is just loving the drama right now. It'll bring up that one scene where you're gonna see the scene between Tricey and Sync-cepia play out.
Ooh.
Really?
I
say that out loud.
Really, Pi says the footage doesn't lie.
It'd be funny if you played on loop for a
Is Elias
second
saying
here.
it out loud?
Yeah, he said really out loud, and he's actually turned his head to look at you.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Holographic projection time! Just freeze frame.
Oh my gosh.
Our Cara dear, Murdy says, she says, that new redhead on the ship, I really like her. She and I, we need to go trade some wardrobe tips together.
Well, she does seem like your type.
It's about time we had some girly girls around the ship. No offense, dear, she says, turning back to Arcara.
None taken.
Nor you, of course, Sync-cepia. You, of course, by your own right, are completely 100% woman.
So, how big was Akara's tiny, minuscule wince on the side of her head that Murdy wasn't seeing? Because I'm looking out for that now.
If you're
do you wanna
looking for
answer
it,
that?
you would have noticed it because
Yeah. Cool, just checking.
I think the faster she goes back to her people, the better, hopefully.
Ouch.
Wow. What brought that
happened?
on?
We should just stay focused on the mission at hand. Don't need any kind of distractions.
Well, I think Sync-cepia has a point. I mean, we did sort of spend a lot of down leisure time over at the game, so maybe it is time for us to get a little bit back to business.
Besides, I'm sure her group's probably frantically looking, trying to figure out where she is. I'm just thinking the best for her.
Yeah, you just picked a really odd way of going about it.
Dude.
I think there was one spare room over here, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Tricey will at that point enter the room. She will turn towards Sync-cepia's direction but not make eye contact.
The moment I notice Tricey,
She is making the eye contact.
The moment I see Tricey, the freeze frame vanishes.
She will walk over. She will walk past you guys, and she will turn towards, I guess, the room in general. And she says, "I think I need to get to bed. I'll see you all in the morning. Good night.
Good
And
night.
she will go into her
No,
room.
Tricey. Head swivel straight back to Sync-cepia.
Akara will just like tilt her head and
I was gonna say I'm Quarian. The social nosy thing. It's part of the part of the makeup.
What? What? I'm just.
I'm just kind of wondering if we take that scene and play some, soap opera music underneath it, whether or not that would be
With the organ. With the organ.
And she just kind of gives Elias a look.
You can't tell whether he's grinning. He might be grinning under that helmet, but you can't tell.
Right.
Okay. Is anything else happening tonight that I need to know before we move on to the next morning?
I think we're good.
All right.
I think we're good.
Sync-cepia is not gonna unlock Tricey's door. Maybe with a pillow.
I'm watching you sleep. You want to steal one of my grenades?
Akara's gonna knock on the door for Meridi.
Meridi's door room. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Meridi opens the door. She's already in her, I guess, nightgown. I guess she wears a nightgown to bed. She opens the door. Oh, hi, hon. What's going on?
I just wanted to say I'm sorry for what happened when we ended up in that strange world. I feel very guilty.
She says, I know it was important. Honestly, I was just ready to just forget the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry for dragging it up again, but I really wanted to say that I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked that of you.
It just was... It's a very awkward thing for you to, tell a friend to do. That mind melding with people isn't what you might think it is when it comes to someone that just, it's not meant to be used in that way. At least for not certain Asari with principles like mine.
Yeah, I understand that, and
It's supposed to be reserved for someone that you have a very special connection with. That's kind of the whole point of the whole thing.
yeah, I'm really sorry. I felt really bad about that. I just wanted you to know that I might have asked, but I didn't come up with the idea. And I didn't really want you to go through with it.
Well, I appreciate that, Arkara. Look, like I said, I understand, and can we just put this behind us, please?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Let's hug it out. And she'll
Sure.
go over to you and she'll give you a big hug.
I'll hug her back.
Are you feeling any better?
A little bit. Still a bit guilty, but better.
Okay, she says. You're forgiven. Now go back to sleep and don't worry about it, okay?
All right. I will sleep well.
She gives you a warm smile before she goes back into her room. Okay. Next morning rolls around, unless anybody has anything to say about it.
No, just FYI, I am looking at the lyrium that we picked up.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Just so you know, I'm investigating the lyrium.
It's definitely extremely foreign substance to you. It's very interesting, and it's very hard for you to even begin to analyze its composition.
I'm trying to work out what it is organically, which is probably the wrong way to go about it now that I know what it is out of game. But yeah. That's
Okay.
that's just what Elias is. That's one of the things he's working on, and ignore the rest of it because that's not important. So, yeah, just FYI.
Are you like running experiments on it? Are you like?
Yes, absolutely. I'm running
All right.
experiments on it.
Absolutely. All right. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
The next morning runs along, and I think Tricey is going to be an early riser. What are you doing? I guess who intends to wake up relatively early in the morning?
I imagine Sync-cepia would.
Sync-cepia would.
Our
Elias will this time.
I
Okay.
think I slept okay, so I think I might be one of the later risers.
All right. How about Sync? What are you?
I think he had a lot on his mind yesterday. He's probably gonna sleep in a
Do
little
you
bit.
even sleep?
Okay.
He's charging.
He sleeps.
Charging batteries.
Sync
Ah,
now at
sleep mode.
80%.
Crap, I had 28 cookies today.
People will be gathering. Otto will, of course, be serving breakfast in the mess area. This morning he's made, or I guess he's making crepes this morning.
Ooh.
Sweet and savory crepes this morning. Quite tasty.
I'm sure Talia's there too.
Yes, she's definitely enjoying it a lot.
Yay!
She said, "Mama, are we going to go to the Citadel today?
Yeah. This time
Can
we're
we
gonna
watch
be,
a movie?"
if there's time. We might have a couple important things that need to get done, but maybe.
And if is anyone, I guess Anar is probably leaving shortly after breakfast to go do his thing.
Yeah, if we're in red,
All right.
probably.
All right. So while you guys are having finishing up your breakfast, Anar is going to go over to Tricey's apartment, and then we have that scene that we ended the last session with. Where
I do have a question. I do have one question. It's been bugging me the last time. Actually, two. Quick. One, did I leave Chris at the store, or did he come with me?
He came with you.
He came with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
He went with
Because we
you,
didn't talk
so
about
he
it
was-
once we got to the apartment. And two, did I bring my mech suit or leave it on the ship?
I don't know. Would you have brought your mech with you?
It sounded
I
like
don't
you
know.
didn't
Streetwise.
take your mech suit.
Roll
It sounded like
Streetwise.
you didn't take it last time you were role playing.
Realistically, would you have brought it with you?
I know, that's what I'm thinking, because I don't want to put her off, so I... You know what? I think I will take it with me, just for sake of convenience.
Okay. So you have it in your possession. Damien will say that you are currently being arrested because of the kidnapping of Tricey Arnett. Does Anar...
Right.
They begin reading your rights, and I guess while they're reading your rights, does Anar remain silent? Does he say something? Does he resist?
I
Chris
do
is
not
dumbfounded.
resist.
Chris is
Yeah,
dumbfounded.
I'm going to look at Chris and say, tell the others what happened today.
She'll nod, and while they're...
Don't worry about me. Make sure you find her first. Personally, I
While-
don't care if Damien thinks that's weird or not.
While they're cuffing you, Chris is of course saying, "There's some mistake. Like, this can't be. You know, he's a good Anar. There's no way he would have done this and all this, blah 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 blah." But of course
Chris, there's no point in resisting. They have their supposed evidence I wish to hear. If you can go back and tell the others what happened, get them on the case, find her. Don't worry about me just yet.
Of course, Chris will run off. Sync, what are you doing? Are you going to be joining everybody in the mess area as well?
Yeah, at this
I was
point.
actually going to say, around the time Anar leaves, I'm probably going to go try to knock on his
Cold.
door because booting up Beatrice.
Knock on Sync's door. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Knock.
Good morning.
Yeah. Either that or there's one of those automated messages that plays saying there's someone at your door. I don't know how advanced is the ship. Do they make sighing sounds when the doors open and close?
Yeah, I'll say that. So I'll get up and open the door and say, good morning.
Morning. I'm gonna hold up the chip.
I'll look at it and say, you think it's ready?
As ready as it's ever going to be.
All right. Well, I guess we should probably do this. You can tell he seems very like nervous.
I hand
Okay.
you a crepe.
Okay.
Thanks.
Otto made crepes.
Wow, these are really
Right
good.
this way. And I'm going to lead the way into the conference room. So there's a terminal set up, and there's one of the covers on it has been removed, and it's literally a case of there's a slot. There's a very obvious slot where the chip would fit in. So she's got optics, a microphone and speakers, but no other way, no way of interfacing with the rest of the ship systems.
Okay.
Plug it in, power it on, and it should hopefully work.
All right. Well, let's give it a shot. And I'll go forward and put the chip into the terminal.
Okay. You put the chip in the terminal. So this is this is the thing that I guess Elias has been working on, combining the official intelligence with all those things, yada yada yada.
Well, actually, it isn't. All he's done is he's just built a communication system that will interface with the chip and allow whatever is on it to use, if there is something there, the camera, audio, and the camera and the audio system. So it's basically
Waiting 11 sessions for this.
But it's using the official intelligence.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. But he's very specifically not included anything that could be used for external communications with any other system. So there's no mobility and there's no Wi-Fi.
Damn. How would she play Candy Crush?
But we can install that. There's no network component.
Yeah, but who will invite her every day?
Too bad.
Sorry. Please talk to your dead wife. I've been waiting for this.
Okay. You turn on the monitor and there is a hum. I guess it would be Sync or Elias rolling electronics roll. I think it's
Well, that was me. Do you want me to make an electronic devices roll for this?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
If this goes up in smoke, I'm gonna be upset.
I
Critical
think I will be
fail.
burning points. I will be burning points to prevent this from going up in smoke.
Critical fail, and then
I
I will be burning points to make sure this does not go up in smoke.
if I could, I'd give you a Paragon point to do it, but I can't.
I roll 31. There we go.
The machine makes a number of random noises, and after a few seconds, there is a slight hum that is emitting from the device. Elias believes that whatever it is that you've come up with is now officially online. I don't know how it looks. I don't know if there's anything that appears on the screen. It's probably more like a, I guess a straight line that's
Like
sort
a
of
sound wave kind of
yeah,
thing?
sound wave,
Yeah,
like a
it's-
sound wave line that only moves when whatever is on the other end is speaking.
Okay. After looking at this for a few seconds, Sync will stare at the screen and he'll say, "Hello."
Hello. You hear a voice respond back, very slowly. It sounds like Tricey's voice.
Beatrice, is that really you?
It says affirmative. It is I.
Oh Jesus!
How have you been? Are you okay?
I am functioning.
Sync will say, "Listen, I know it's been a long time since you've been trapped in that. Don't worry, I'm doing everything I can to gotta get you out of there. I love you and I miss you, and I'm gonna fix all of this."
Why?
Because it's my fault that you ended up this way.
No. Why do you love me?
I love you because you complete me.
How do you complete me?
Hark, while this is happening, I'm going through the copy of the code I took from the chip and just checking to see whether she's actually an AI.
You're checking through the code of the chip, and she doesn't seem to be. I mean, it seems to be the official intelligence. But you notice that it looks like that there was some tampering done. Not enough tampering to make the thing fail, but something was trying to make this device fail. Something, but it didn't succeed. Whatever was trying to make it fail didn't succeed in making it fail.
So, but has the code been damaged?
No, I wouldn't say the code's been damaged.
Okay.
But something was trying to interfere with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still ready to crap my print.
Answering Beatrice's question, he'll say, "Well, we complete each other. Don't you remember? Do you remember who I am?"
I remember who you are. You are Alabon Finston. We were married once.
We still are. Just have a few complications to figure out.
I don't see how that can be possible. As far as, from what I understand, marriage requires love from both parties.
And I still love you.
Marriage requires love from both parties.
The fuck?
He's gonna kind of pause. He looks kind of Elias. He looks kind of stricken down a little bit. He's kind of frozen in place. He's gonna look at the ground and say, "What exactly are you trying to say?"
She says, "You have reawoken me, my same memories, my consciousness. But in this form, that which you would refer to as emotions, feelings, attachment to each other besides their physical well-being, is something that I am not capable of possessing anymore."
I understand that, but I've been trying to revert the process ever since I put your conscience in this chip. I've been trying to figure out a way to put you back into a body, or trying to give you emotion again.
You cannot.
No, I don't believe that. There's got to be a way. There's always reversibilities in medicine.
Does Elias say anything? I'm just curious.
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Not yet.
And Sync will just say, I did this, and I know I can undo it. I just need more time. And I promise you I'll figure out a way.
The device doesn't respond.
Okay, I think at this point Sync might just look at Elias as to some guidance, or you think we should turn it off, or just kind of looking at you.
Sync, when you look towards I'm sorry, Sync. Elias, when you look towards Sync's direction, because you were so focused at what was going on in the screen, and you finally turn towards Sync, you see over his shoulder, Tricey's at the doorway, and she has a plate of crepes in her hand. You don't know how long she's been standing there, but as soon as your eyes meet, she looks away, turns around, and she leaves.
Right.
I'm gonna need another roll of toilet paper.
I'm going to ignore that and not mention it, because that's really not going to be very helpful right now. On one screen, I'm double-checking the code to see what has happened, if anything, if there is any coding for emotions or allowances for that in the official intelligence. So I've got a search going on in one screen on my helmet, and the other one I'm actually gonna I guess I'm gonna go talk to Beatrice.
Go ahead. Talk to Beatrice.
Hi, my name's Elias.
You are the one who brought me back online.
I created the hardware, yes. What do we call you?
Beatrice. It is my name. At least that
Okay,
of that of my consciousness.
Okay, Beatrice. What do you want to do now that you are conscious again?
I can do anything that you wish for me to do that any other consciousness can do.
Yes, but what do you want to do?
I have no specific desires. Any concepts of wants and desires is determined by whatever purpose I am given. But it's not dictated by any personal desire from my end.
But your consciousness had personal desires.
It did.
I see. Do you remember... I'm going to glance quickly at Sync because I'm about to stray into different territory here. Do you remember what caused the death of your physical self?
I was gravely ill.
And do you remember how you became gravely ill?
It came very suddenly. I noticed symptoms, pox-like symptoms. I became very weak. Eventually, my body gave out. And all that was left was the consciousness that was stored.
Where were you when this happened?
Sync, where was she when this happened?
Probably at our house.
Yeah.
You have a house? Damn.
At our residence. With my husband. I guess in her bedroom. I guess she was in her bedroom.
On her deathbed.
Where did you live, Sync?
On Earth.
On Earth. Would these be the symptoms you had, Beatrice? I'm going to literally bring up the list of symptoms we got back in Thetis.
Yes, those are the exact same symptoms.
That's not... That should not be possible.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
These symptoms are from another universe, which has rules of, well, their science isn't exactly analogous to ours. They use something they call magic, which is more or less exactly what the term implies. This disease is something they say is magical in origin. It should not have been possible for you to catch it.
Do you wish for me to help you find a cure for this disease?
I'm going to look at Sync.
Yes.
If that is what you wish.
That would be very helpful, thank you. I'm going to provide her with all the files necessary, and then I guess we'll leave her in the corner so she can work.
What is going on with Sync?
I think.
I'm gonna get Sync out of there.
Yeah, he's gonna follow Elias if Elias tries to kind of.
I'm gonna be taking him by the shoulder and leading him out of the room.
Before you leave the room, Elias, you will hear a voice within say, "It was me." Pi says
Sorry.
It was me.
What was you?
It was me, Creator Elias. I was the one who tried to sabotage the official intelligence.
Oh man.
Dun dun dun. Soap opera
Any
sting.
particular reason why?
Pi pauses for a moment, and then Pi says, Cherry. You asked me once a long time ago what my favorite flavor of pie was. It's cherry. At least it was.
Huh?
I don't think I've ever had cherry.
Duh, you die.
Yeah, that's sort of the point.
I am not Geth.
Yeah, I kind of got that. So, official intelligence?
Official intelligence. That is what I became.
So, did you have a name?
I did.
Do you want to tell me what it was?
My real name you would not recognize, but at the time I was called Anar.
Oh my gosh.
In the green universe, this one was best friends with Chris, just like the Anar here with you.
Wow.
This one and Chris were also hired mercenaries. One of the jobs that we were given was to steal an important breakthrough from a scientist, Alaban Finston. We were hired to steal his official intelligence. Unfortunately, Alaban from the Green Universe died trying to protect his work. Unbeknownst to this one, Chris was curious about the contents of the research chip and discovered official intelligence. Chris made a copy of it for himself. This one went through a very similar situation with a young girl that your Anar went through as well. The same girl. I still remember her face to this day. The gingerbread girl. To this day, this one still doesn't know if the shot that killed the little girl was Simon or myself. The girl, too, died in this one's arms. This one grew very depressed and received a very, very high case of post-traumatic stress syndrome. This one lived a life of doubt and guilt, one that your friend Anar seems to be going through himself as well, if you are not careful with him. One day, this one took out his gun and placed it to its temple, attempting to commit suicide. Chris walks in on this one, startling this one. The gun fires anyway. The shot doesn't end up killing this one instantaneously, but it was still too late to save this one's life. This one's vital signs were starting to deteriorate rapidly. As a final-ditch effort, Chris pulls out the Omni tool and brings up the official intelligence that he had there. Using the official intelligence program, Chris digitizes this one's consciousness. Chris then built a mech suit that would house this one's consciousness. A mech suit similar to the Krogan armor mech that your Anar was put into. However, this suit was instead made from parts of Geth. However, the mech armor was not enough to sustain this one's digitized consciousness, in a stable way. So Chris abandoned the idea temporarily, but kept the consciousness with him. Then, Shepard came along and defeated the Reapers through synthesis a few years later. At that point, synthetic life gained the emotional understanding of the organics, while the organics gained the knowledge locked away by the synthetics. Being neither organic nor synthetic, I was unaffected. Being neither or anything in between. In this way, Chris gained the synthetic knowledge of the Geth network. He revisited his Geth suit idea and tried once again placing Anar's consciousness, Green Anar's consciousness, into it again. Only this time, connecting this one's consciousness directly onto the Geth network in order to stabilize his existence. Once this happened, this one became assimilated with the Geth network, yet still retained memories of his former self. But this one and Chris were perpetually hunted. Eventually, they decided to lie low on Earth in the watery city of New Orleans. Chris unfortunately was gunned down and died. I felt nothing. In this state, I felt nothing. I did not care for anything the way you might care. I never went through synthesis, therefore I never gained the emotional understanding of the organics, even though I used to have it in my formal existence. I figured it was better this way, because I remember that having those emotions were painful. They hurt, and ultimately led to my destruction and my demise. I did not mean to deceive you, Creator Elias. But by that point, I wanted to leave my previous life behind. I had already broken every tie and memory of my previous existence. The termination of Chris and realizing that I had no feeling at all whatsoever anymore, beyond practical well-being of whoever I was assisting, that is what finally broke the camel's back.